What's up, Night Owls? Al Jackson with a quick message. Don't worry, it's not bad.
Well, it might be bad.
Yeah, it could be bad.
We're not going to be on live this Tuesday only, but it's for a very good reason.
Mm-hmm. It's for an upgrade to the studio. Yes, we're moving studios and we're getting ready. So we thank Dude IDK. And next time you see us, we'll be all fresh and shiny in the new one.
I'm hearing a lot of weird getting ready. What are you doing to help get the studio?
She's going to show up. But don't worry, because we have a special episode for you pre-recorded. So enjoy.
What up? What up? What up? What's up? And welcome to Daytime Talk After Dark. I am Al Jackson, but that is unimportant. What is important is that I am joined by two of my favorite ladies. One of them has their collar popped. My girl, Tori Shulman. Last second decision to pop the collar. I like it. Very Tom Cruise, risky business.
It's a little Miami Vice.
Yeah, but you need a white blazer.
Yeah.
You need a white Testarossa sitting out front.
And like a lot of cocaine.
Then you'd have it.
Testarossa.
Yeah, shout out.
Is that a car?
Yes, a Ferrari Testarossa?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, you
Mr.
didn't-
Moneybags.
Oh, yeah, well, I've got two of them.
Okay.
I just don't drive them around. That's all it is. But you know who does have three Testarossas? My girl, Erica Cobb.
3?
Yes.
Okay.
For a long weekend, you know?
Yeah. I'm like, you're talking to someone who has been driving the same car for the past 11 years.
Yes. Right until the wheels fall off.
Yeah. I mean, I only have like 55,000 miles on it.
Really?
I drive basically like an 80-year-old. You know, when people are like, oh, if you want to buy a car straight from the owner, you should go to like the little old ladies because they're only driving to like the grocery store or church. That's me. I'm a little old lady. I drive to the grocery store.
Into church?
Not to church.
Okay.
I do church at home.
Yeah.
There's too many devils.
You're an old lady that's not right with the Lord.
Yeah.
As always, we are here at Dude IDK Studios. Follow them, shout them out. And we are joined by our incredible Stuart, who just helps us navigate the waters of the stories that come through our cultural zeitgeist, Mr. Michael Dean, our senior executive producer. Shout out. Yes.
What's up, guys?
What up? You could, yes. Well, let's get into it because we all witnessed something right before we came on, and that would be the Rush trailer. Yes, it is out, Erica. The Rust story and saga followed us for, I would say, the last 2 years at DBL, popping up every 4 months or so. Whether it was the actual event, then the finger pointing, then the
Investigation.
the armorer. Remember her?
Hannah Gutierrez Reed.
Yeah.
We covered this so
You
much.
said her name like, remember when somebody would get their big sister's fake ID? And
Sarah Johnson Drew.
They would. That's the thing. You're answering it correct. I am 5'9".
I'm a Capricorn.
Brunette.
Remember when they still had the social security numbers on it?
Yeah, and you had to memorize
And you had to
that.
memorize all that?
Yes.
Yeah.
The things
My
we
girl
would
was
do.
April Sharpie.
April Sharpie.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, you should check in the hotels under that name.
April Sharpie.
April Sharpie. Well, we watched the Rust trailer. I just want to know, Erica, what were your thoughts when you watched it?
You know, I can see this trailer being very triggering, not only to the family of Helena Hutchins, but also to people who were very much invested in this story and in the loss of her life and how that tragedy seemed to supersede everything, as it should have, because I still think that was completely an unnecessary death. You know,
Unbelievable.
So I could see the trailer really sparking a lot of controversy because it's violent.
Right. It and the images, especially at the end, Tori, just took me right back to watching that on DBL. What'd you think?
Okay, so I'm so weirded out by the trailer. I just have to say, I was always on the side that Alec Baldwin was negligent as a producer, first off, and also the gun somehow went off, and there's no way after an FBI investigation that it could have gone off without the trigger being pulled. So to me, some responsibility always lied with Alec Baldwin, okay? I don't know if that was a civil situation or a criminal, but I always felt there was some responsibility. To see him as like the cowboy, right? In like good guy, bad guy, Western tropism, right? Like that kind of cowboy thing. And then to watch the last shot, no pun intended, and I'm not being silly at all, which looks a lot like the church scene in which Miss Hutchins lost her life because of negligence. It looks like he takes the gun that he said he didn't shoot and points at the camera, which you know we're all waiting for, kind of. So it's like this weird porn that you're like watching because we know somewhere he shot that gun. Is it that gun? And then you're waiting and we're like, is that the scene? So there's a weird pornography to this. Do you know what I mean? There's an obscenity to watching this and like wanting more of it that makes me feel very uncomfortable.
I think us learning about your porn habits is also very uncomfortable.
I don't need the laughter.
You know, it's
but
that
do you
weird
see what I'm
porn
saying?
that you watch as soon as your husband goes to sleep.
No, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What is that thing we always said? The something porn when you're really into.
It's I
What was that? Oh, okay.
yeah. So I know what you're saying though. People do it with when people are looking at poor neighborhoods. They call it pornography. Like when people go, like they'll have cameras.
No, I
in
just mean it's
downtown
something like
Detroit.
we're waiting for in a way that seems uncomfortable in a grotesque manner.
Right. Well,
It seems obscene in a weird way.
well, obscene sells.
Yeah.
That's
I don't know
it-
what theater is going to have this in there. What
I
theater?
think
is
a lot of theaters that want to sell.
No, that's very little.
It's not. Yes, but there is going to be a line around the corner, and that's my question to you two. Yes, but I feel like people want to be there first because there is a cultural cachet and almost like a cultural value in being like, I went to the Rush trailer. Here's my
Stop saying
Instagram.
Rush. It's Rust.
I said Rust.
Okay.
My Rust review on Instagram Reels. That is going to get some views. But there is some cultural cachet in that. And my question to you two is, did Rust, as a small budget indie film, just pull off a masterclass in marketing?
Oh my God.
Because we
By killing
That's
someone
horrible.
on the set.
Al. That's terrible.
do you think that final scene, right, Cash, do you think that final scene was not thought out, that church is what we've been looking at?
Oh no, I
and-
definitely think that they played into the tragedy.
Right.
Yeah. To Tori's point, like tragedy porn.
That's what it was.
Right.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Erica.
No, I
Thank
mean,
you.
I think that they're definitely, and I feel even weird saying playing into, but that's what's happening.
Yes.
They're alluding, they're teasing,
Right.
they're, kissing just like super
Flirting.
close
Yeah.
with whatever line. And honestly, for you to ask a question like that, which I don't even think I don't think that you're going to be the only person to say something like that. It's alarming.
Yes.
It's alarming, the idea that they just pull off the biggest marketing. It's like a woman lost her life.
Mother.
Absolutely.
Like, that is insane to even the idea that this production continued. And I do know that there was some back and forth with the family, that I think at one point they wanted the production to go forward.
That was actually gonna be my
I think that has
question to you.
something to do with
The civil
the
suit.
settlement.
Yeah.
But like and also it was her last piece of work.
Yeah.
So it's such a complicated dynamic because you obviously want to honor her life, her work, her legacy, but also this feels really gross.
It's
to me.
obscene. Can I be honest, just to add to that? It's like a movie within a movie. We're watching the movie Rust, but we're all watching another movie.
We're all thinking about something
right,
else.
And we're all, that movie to me is the tragedy porn, like obscenity here. And if I understand that's the way they get their money. It's much like when OJ had to write If I Did It. The Goldmans got all the money from that OJ book because he didn't have money at the time. And so in some weird way, they needed that book to do well. Like it was a horrific situation for them. But if that's what they need to make money, the Hutchins, and they feel that way, I understand. But I don't know if I would have let this movie come out. I don't know. I don't know if I would have. I don't know.
I think Erica hit on the head when she said
I
it's
just
her
said
last
stuff,
piece of
though.
work. And if you are somebody that knew her, it seems like she was extremely passionate about what she did. And some people would be like, let's say this was a Sky. Right. You know, but
The least you
if
could
she was
do-
if she
Michael
was
Dean said it's dedicated. I don't know how much your voice is picking up on the mic. So
yeah, Mike, just yell it out.
No.
You know, but if this person was a professional skydiver with 5,000 dives under their belt, and they passed away, and we were supposed to do our 5,000 first and make the Guinness Book of World Records or something, I assume a lot of people would be like, Mike would have wanted us to jump. You know, so I wonder if that carries over. And Erica, just to kind of close this, you seemed a little taken back by that question, but I was channeling my inner Erica Cobb. I listened, and you forever changed my perspective on what these eyeballs see and how I process it when you said fame, shame, it's all the same game. And sadly, in this country, if people know about it, it's good, because that's the only way that you get attention. You can get attention from being Carrie Underwood, or you can get attention for being William Hung. You know, they're both household names, and one was one of the greatest singers ever.
Right.
One was one of the worst. But it's, do people know you or not? And people know this movie because of the tragedy.
But I agree. I understand what you're saying. I think one, the comparison between Carrie Underwood and William Hung is super inconsequential. This is a very consequential action. And I think to the point of the importance of justice, when it doesn't seem as though justice was served in order to, you know, justice for Helena's life, when there wasn't an action. I mean, yes, the armorer went to jail for, I think, a year she got, and
like
there's
18
someone
months,
else. Yeah. But does that really equate to what was lost? And when you don't have that sense of justice served, where it feels equal and fair and balanced, then yes, it lends itself to those types of questions. Well, this might be one of the best marketing campaigns, because it seems inconsequential. Right. And it's so consequential.
Yes, but we led our show with it. Weirdly, it just, it is what it is. Michael Dean, what were you going to say?
18 months.
That was the maximum, but let's
armor-
be clear, that's the maximum she could have been served for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get into some good news. Let's get some positive energy going in here. So, Erica, why don't you talk to us about the positive energy campaign?
Oh, sure. You know, energy can be very complicated, sometimes very difficult to understand and divisive. That's why Positive Energy Campaign breaks it all down for us in a way that we all understand. Let's talk some recycling and food waste.
Let's do it.
What recycling myths have you heard? Let's set the record straight on some of them. A product with a recycling symbol on it doesn't always mean it can be recycled. The truth is, the rules vary, and not all plastics are recyclable. For example, number 1 and number 2 plastics usually make the cut, but number 6, not so much. When you're not sure, check your local recycling guide or use a recycling app to double check. What about food waste and compostables? They don't break down in landfills like you'd think. They can actually release methane, a greenhouse gas. Composting is the way to go when possible. Does recycling use more energy than it saves? The answer is no. Recycling has helped the U.S. save 4.5 billion barrels of oil since 1970. Plus, recycling an aluminum can saves 95% of the energy needed to make a new one. Recycling is an easy way to make a difference. Just make sure you're doing it right.
And we are back. And that is a perfect segue, because I want to keep talking about food.
Yeah. Well, first, sorry, I should have done that. Okay. Well, good thing we're not live. Yeah. Did you know that not all recyclables have the triangle doesn't mean it's necessarily recyclable?
That's what I didn't know.
And then the food waste really blew my mind. But that's the reason why we have Positive Energy Campaign, because it breaks it down for us in a way that we understand. So support our sponsor who is supporting us. Go to Positive Energy Campaign on YouTube and click the subscribe, watch some videos, get some information about how energy affects your life.
I watch those videos, and then when I talk about them casually, I act like I just knew it the whole time. Like, oh,
You're like methane. Did you know?
You didn't know that? That's
Did you
so
know that in the
weird.
Gulf of Mexico, it
Thought you
is
went to
the
college.
actually cleanest way to get a resource of oil? Okay.
Well, I wanted to ask you guys this because I saw this story and it was instantly interesting and gross at the same time. And
Those are your favorite stories.
Yeah, exactly. You mean the stories I want to lead with, Tori?
Yeah, right.
Yes, a baby food company is dropping their breast milk flavored ice cream because of public outcry. But mothers that have had breast milk said that it was pretty accurate and it was delicious. So, one, I want to ask you, what do you think about breast milk flavored ice cream? I think I know the answer. But two, is there a flavor of ice cream that doesn't exist, but you think it should? Tori, what do you think?
I'm so confused by this. Can I ask some follow-up questions?
Please.
So it's a baby food maker,
Yes.
and they're making ice cream for babies?
I think it's ice cream for the moms. I think they branch out. They're like, baby don't have a credit card. Mom does. Mom's on this site.
But a baby is teething and needs cold on their teeth. So
I know, but I don't think a baby's having ice cream at this age.
Well, if it's breast milk, they are.
Well, I think that's for the adults.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't invent
Why?
it.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Why is it for the adults?
Well, I know.
Is
it not for the babies?
No, it's not for the baby. It's not for the mom. This is a fetish ice cream.
No, this is to celebrate their launch of their manual breast pump.
Right, but who's it
Celebrating the
for?
launch of the manual breast pump by selling fetish ice cream.
So this is for guys or
Who
women
like-
who
yeah.
like sexually breast milk.
Where's the sex part come in?
They're attracted to it.
Haven't you heard of
Yes,
like
I've heard of
people?
This. Yes, I've heard of this.
Yes, it's a fetish.
Yes, it is.
I have heard of athletes drinking breast milk because
You're way off from our thing.
Yeah.
I know, but no, I know this for a fact. Athletes drink breast milk because obviously it's packed with nutrients for a
Baby?
growing human.
Oh.
And so if you're an athlete that's trying to recover from muscle damage or
They
trying to
drink
repair
breast milk?
Yes, breast milk. It's a cottage industry. Like women that still make breast milk, they sell it.
Oh no, I know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because what we're talking about is the fetish.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Again,
people want that breast milk.
Speaking of weird porn,
Mine was not about
you've
porn.
you've managed to jam it into 2 of the 3 stories. I'm glad
No,
the
but Erica-
integration
Erica's
survived.
right. This is a sexualized thing, I think. She's absolutely right. Now, breast milk is beautiful and wonderful and human's mother's gold. I mean, it's beautiful. But
That's
I think
actually the name of the flavor, Mother's,
mother's
Gold.
gold. But I think this is a fad gimmick.
I think that the target demo is not who they say the target demo is, because I don't
It's some
see
dude named
why
Larry.
a woman. And I mean, granted, we don't have children, so if you're a mom and you want to chime in, when you were breastfeeding, or if you're breastfeeding now, did you have the desire to consume your own breast milk?
I feel like
Because I've never heard this before. And why would a company that is catering to mothers or mothers to be making breast milk ice cream?
I have to say this might be for the babies for teething because it's healthy and it would be cold. It can't be.
I don't think it's for
It's
the
I
not
moms.
think
for the moms. It has to
here's
be for the
my
babies.
scenario for the moms.
Because they put ice cubes on babies. They give them little ice cream. There's like 2
They don't
popsicles.
give babies little ice cream. They don't do that.
They absolutely have stuff for teething.
Oh, here's a little tiny ice cream cone for your hands
No,
that
but this
can't
would
do
be a healthy
anything yet.
No, but a breast milk ice cream would be healthy for the baby to teeth with.
Why don't they skip the middleman and just go straight to the breast and the milk?
Because it's not cold. The baby wants it to be numb. You've never heard of teething?
But here's the thing, it's not made with actual breast milk. It's just made to taste like it.
Right.
We understand that it's
Oh.
not made with actual breast milk.
I didn't know
But
that.
if it's made to taste like it,
Then it's a fetish.
It's a fetish.
I don't think so. And I'm
No.
going to tell you why. Erica, roll your eyes, but I'm going to tell you this. Okay, you're a lactating mother and you're pumping and you're doing that every night. And it's just like, sometimes when you were like 15 and like some adult will leave a glass of wine in the living room.
Oh my God,
you
Al, it's
want
not
to take
the
a hit off
same.
it?
Al,
Are
it's
you
not the
telling
same.
me that mothers have not taken a sip of their own breast milk?
I'm sure, but
I'm
it's not
sure
like
they
that.
have.
What if
but
it's
I'm
good?
sure it's not like,
Wine.
oh my gosh, let me chug this. Oh no, now there's not enough for my baby.
See, now we're getting into the porn thing.
Oh,
So, Erica, obviously breast milk is not going to be the flavor for you. Is there a flavor that doesn't exist that you think should?
Oh.
Because I have a weird one. Do you want me to say mine first? What
Yes.
you think? Okay, Tori, you said you have one.
I have one, yeah.
Okay, here's mine. And it doesn't exist.
I worked at Salt and Straw, a gourmet ice cream, so I'm going to be the judge of all of this.
Okay.
I worked very hard.
I was at a friend's house years ago, back when I was drinking, and he used to make these slushy drinks at his house. And he was like, try this, it's homemade. And I tried it, and he was like, do you want to know what the flavor is? And I was like, what? And he was like, amoxicillin. Do you remember when you would get amoxicillin as a kid? It was like that.
bubblegum?
Yeah, like that kind of, that weird chemically.
That's weird.
It tasted really good. It tasted.
It was made with amoxicillin?
No. It's just the flavor, Erica.
and it solved his sore throat.
Yes, Erica is not grasping.
I was
this.
like, is this like ice cream scissor?
Yeah. No, it's just like it tasted like childhood medicine, and weirdly, maybe that's like, I'm sure, triggering something in my brain, but it wasn't bad. So I'm going with amoxicillin.
It's the worst choice I've ever
bubble
heard.
gum
Okay.
flavored.
It's like Robitussin.
Okay.
Yeah!
All right. I'm gonna take a cue from Al, because the moment that you said it triggered nostalgia. Remember the world's best chocolate that we all had to sell for like
Absolutely.
a band or yeah, that should be an ice cream flavor. When they came out with the Thin Mint Girl Scout ice cream, they were definitely onto something. But that world's best chocolate, that chocolate, it really is the world's best chocolate. It really, I'm thinking of it now. I gotta find somebody kid in baseball. Hit me up. I need some of that world's best chocolate. That should be a flavor.
You know what? It's so weird. I don't see the world's best chocolate anymore, Tori. Don't forget your
No.
answer. But you know what is new? And it was at my daughter's school in Atlanta. It was at one of Sarah's friends. Their kids were selling it, and they're out near Red Rocks. Popcorn.
Yeah, butter popcorn.
It's like all these different flavors of popcorn. And my girl ordered some, and I was like, you got $56 worth of popcorn? She was like, it's 3 bags. It's not a lot, and I want to hate on it, but the popcorn is effing delicious. It is amazing. It is like, it is so good. So I don't know, maybe the chocolate got
I think
replaced.
that stemmed from the buttered popcorn jelly bean. That became like a fad for a while, the popcorn flavor.
Oh
I
yeah, but
hated
no one
that.
ever liked
Everyone
it.
hated
no
that
one liked
kiwi.
that.
People didn't
And
like the
I
butter.
loved kiwi, and I would be disappointed every time.
Because you thought it was kiwi, and then you put it in your mouth, it's butter
Well,
popcorn.
that was the dumb thing with
Yeah.
jelly beans is they started. It's a
I knew I was
it's
gonna
a
start
multi
this.
bag.
I knew I was going to start
And you get
this.
cherry, lime,
And
cool with
vomit.
that, grape, and then coffee. Why, Tori? What's your flavor?
So I worked at Salt and Straw, and their top flavor was the milk on the bottom of your Lucky Charms bowl. Because it reminds you of Saturday morning cartoons. And it was called Saturday morning cartoons. And they took the bottom of actual used Lucky Charms and made it into ice cream. And it was delicious.
Used
What?
Lucky Charms.
I'm not sure it was actually used. But I always came up with this idea. Okay, it's called the 90s.
We were so poor coming up. Even our Lucky Charms were used.
Oh, God.
Don't tell me.
So this is the flavor I thought would be good. It's called the 90s. And it's made of Nirvana chocolate, which is a chocolate place. And then it has cranberries for the cranberries.
Okay.
And then it has Smashing Pumpkins in it.
No hip hop made it in
Pumpkin?
there.
No,
You
it's
lost me with
it's more
pumpkin.
like it's
I
more
can't do any
no like
pumpkin.
the 90s bands. Are you hearing them?
I
Like
am.
Nirvana, the Cranberries, and then Smashing Pumpkins.
Can I just say something and make
And
it?
I love Billy Corgan. I used to hang out with him every Sunday evening.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, he was gonna be in
At
my ice
Watusi.
cream.
Hey, Billy.
Well, I'm going to say something before I move on. And it's going to be racially divisive. I don't think black people like pumpkin.
I don't.
And
Wait, really?
Erica?
No, but
Erica,
the moment that you said pumpkin, I was out.
Black people don't like pumpkin.
Not really.
No.
Wait, don't clip that.
The only thing worse,
What else
the
don't you
only-
like? You don't like work.
getting a pumpkin pie is the equivalent of thinking that a cookie is chocolate chip, but really it's oatmeal with raisin. That is the equivalent of getting a pumpkin pie thinking it's sweet potato.
Yes.
You guys don't like anything pumpkin?
Not really.
What about pumpkin spice latte?
No, nothing pumpkin.
It's
I
just
don't like the
culturally.
smell.
Can I say something?
I
don't
think
want
culturally
anything
we got the
pumpkin.
sweet potato, and I'm just gonna say this, Tori, and then the floor is yours. Every white person I've had try sweet potato pie never went back to pumpkin.
Okay, let me just say this. I think Jews don't like pumpkin either.
Really?
Yeah. I think we're with you guys. I don't
right.
like pumpkin spice latte. I don't like pumpkin muffins. I don't want anything pumpkin. Nothing. It's disgusting.
It's not my favorite. So if you at home, I'm sure we are offending some people. So
Oh no, Al. I'll tell you right now because I'm still getting dragged on social media.
for what?
So for us, you night owls, you've been with us for over 8 years now, so you know how we speak and what we
shouldn't have
speak
said that
about.
about Jewish people.
No, but you also know that we have been having conversations about everything together and with one another.
Right.
So whoever is going out there sending these clips to the angriest of angry sections.
Please don't do
And
that.
it's across the board. It's like neo-Nazis
Oh, geez.
that I've heard from. And then it's like people who are like, I am revoking your black card immediately. Let me tell you, if it were that easy to revoke my black card, it would have been revoked so long ago. I was born black. I'm going to die black. There's nothing I can do or you can do about that. So if you are joining this conversation, read the rules at the door because quite frankly, we've been doing this so long, we don't even care.
We don't care.
Yeah. Well,
Blacks and Jews don't like pumpkins.
Yeah.
I said it.
Up and down the Instagram streets.
there we yes.
We're on the Breakfast Club, Charlemagne.
Yes, let's have it out. So if you are a pumpkin advocate, talk to us. We will listen. Now we do have a problem transitioning into something very serious in my opinion. We've now had multiple students on student visas that were on college campuses that have been abducted, taken by ICE. These men are masked. They run up on you on the streets. And people don't know who they are. They are denied counsel.
So if
their
they
family is
don't
not
know
told.
who they are, how do they know that they're ICE?
That's the thing, Erica.
So-
how long until just two dudes that are able to secure bandanas are? What were you saying, Michael Dean?
At least 6 students.
At least 6 students. I know there was the young man at Columbia.
This woman
there
at
was just a
Tufts.
woman at Tufts.
Yeah.
A graduate student.
She found out they were ICE because she went like this. I'm not kidding you. The one from Tufts was on camera and she said this. They came up and she was like, what's going on? What's going on? And she said, should I call the cops? And they said, we are the cops. And she was like, who are you? This is like your worst nightmare.
But they already had hands on her.
And they know they're quickly surrounding her. Now they have masks that look like almost like COVID masks, men and women, and they all kind of just come up at once. And she's like, who are you? What are you? And they go on and you kind of hear it, but they were like, we're the police. And all 6 were legally here, all 6 of them. And so they came up and sort of, they don't announce themselves. They don't show identification. They don't do any of that. She didn't know what to say, but when she says, should I call the cops? And they go, we are the cops. That's how she found out they were ICE.
Yeah, but how do you know that someone said, just because somebody says they're the cop? Plus, especially now, and for the past, since November, people have just been dressing up in uniforms with the
At
word
town hall.
ICE on top of their
At
chest.
town halls too, they've been doing that.
Like random
who are
people.
you know?
and it must
So
be.
it's been confirmed.
That
yes.
these are ICE agents, and they're coming up with legally here students. That's not correctly grammatically correct, but
People on
students
student
that are
visas.
legally
Yes.
here and on the middle of the street in broad daylight, coming to like get your papers and take you. And she was so scared. I mean,
And
so scared.
Tori, I'm going to present the other side, but correct me if I'm wrong. When you are on a student visa, you are still entitled to all of the protections under the Bill of Rights, correct?
Not only that, and I hate to say this, but you can go back and look, Antonin Scalia and Judge Ruth Bader Ginsburg agreed. Non-citizens have the rights of the Bill of Rights. At no point in the Declaration of Independence does it say citizens get the Bill of Rights. It says persons. So a lot of people are going to come at me for this, but Ginsburg and Scalia on opposite sides of the spectrum both believe the 10 Bill of Rights of dignity applies to non-citizens as well.
Right.
So
Which is a
basically,
big
the
deal.
implication is if you are in this country, you have the right to dignity.
Correct. And
That is a
those
wild
basic independent.
concept.
That's right, Erica. And those basic
Wow.
independent rights. That's exactly right.
There are people that are obviously advocating for this. Now, remember, as we go into the story, that as of the time that we're having this discussion, this woman has not been allowed access to her legal counsel. She was taken to Louisiana from Tufts, which is in Boston. My homegirl used to go there. That's where I got stuck on the elevator, is in Tufts.
Yeah.
And
Thank God the cameras were there to catch this.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank
it
God.
looks like an abduction.
It really does.
It really
it's like
looks
get in
like
the white van and shut up.
It was the craziest thing, and I'm like, this is where are all the free speech activists that we've heard from for all these years on DBL when somebody says something untoward. Now, people, like the Marco Rubio, our Secretary of State.
Correct.
He says that the government is perfectly well within its rights to revoke a student visa.
And some of these people were at Palestinian protests, which is why some people think they're being targeted. I just wanted to give that context to that.
And in the case of the woman at Tufts, she had written an op-ed a year ago to the day asking for just Palestinian humanity to be recognized. There were James Baldwin quotes in her op-ed. And the last I checked, writing an op-ed is legal. Even if you don't agree with said op-ed, that's why it's in the opinion section, not the news section. But he's saying, look, we invited you over, or we allowed you to come over on a student visa. You're riling up trouble on our campuses, and we're going to...
Which should be bastions of free speech, let's be honest. Colleges should be the first place that free speech is protected. Sorry, continue.
No,
I'm so sorry,
I think you're exactly right. And I mean, you go take it back to Kent State.
Yeah, 1970.
And people protesting against the Vietnam War. Are you telling me these same tactics wouldn't have been deployed against those students?
Students were killed.
That are riling up the country against the United States government? That same premise couldn't be used, and we lost 4 students then.
Yeah, but here's the thing. This is what it's setting the stage for. Who's going to check whom at this point?
Right. Who's enforcing what?
This is, and the thing about it is, it doesn't even stop there in terms of this is an example of being made an example of.
Absolutely.
This is a warning shot to anyone else who may be so audacious to want to protest against the government. We're also hearing about it when it comes to re-entering the country after traveling internationally. People's phones being U.S. citizens having their phones taken and look through to see if, and a lot of it has to do, and that puts all of us on the table, because it's people who have spoken out against the government, have said things that are unfavorable about this administration. So where does that stop and start?
There's one more common trait that all those people that you're talking about share, and that they haven't been charged with a crime, Erica. Whether it was the people that were rounded up and sent back to Venezuela because
the alien invasion
they were gang members. Yeah. Everybody's like, all right, prove it. That's what the courts are for. And I'm sure that there are people on the other side of this, but I would love to hear what those people have to say about the lack of due process.
I talked to them at a party, and he was a Republican from Texas. And I asked him that very question. It was right when the judge had said, bring those people from El Salvador back. We don't know who these people are, and they still sent them. And that's when you get to your question of who's enforcing who. When the judge makes a rule and the president ignores it, then what? Because that's it. That's all we got. But I said, what do you think? And he said, I think we're all fine with sending gang members back, but I don't think we're fine with sending students back like the way that we're doing. And I think people thought it would just be criminal gang members and that it wouldn't reach out to the people that went against him. And I think you had to be blind to not see that was in there.
I think a really great example of what is happening just across the board is for people who said, when the birth certificate issue was on the table and people were saying...
This is Barack Obama saying he's not from America. Yeah. That's what you're saying, the birth certificate? Is that what you're saying? I just want to be clear.
Are you talking about birtherism?
No.
What are you talking about?
Okay, I'll finish. So when the birth certificate issue was first on the table, if you are assigned this gender, this name on your birth certificate, then that is your legal name. That is your legal gender. And people said, oh, they're talking about the trans people. Those are those people over there. Yeah, it's their choice to be that way. So I agree with that. It should be what's on your birth certificate. But then it was a loud screech when we found out, oh, wait, who else doesn't have the same name on their birth certificate as they have on their driver's license today? Married women, for one. And now all of a sudden, you get this passed based on sheer discrimination and phobias. And now, oh, wait, but it affects you too. So that's what that whole, like, Tori, the quote that you always like to talk about when they came for this person, they said nothing. And they came for that person, they said nothing. And by the time they came for me, there was no one left to say anything. Mm-hmm. Like, that is what's happening.
Absolutely. It's history all over again, because you can tell they test the waters. It's like, well, no one's going to advocate for some gang members, even though they haven't been. They could round Michael, Dean, and Nick up and say they're gang members.
Well, they are.
They are. Albania. We know.
Don't make your signs. Please don't make your signs.
But, like, how do you...
That's what the judge said, Al.
Yeah,
he said,
if you just get some people and say he's a gang member, great. Prove it.
Well, they showed the tattoo, so it had to have been right. But I'm just saying...
You could be an ex-gang member.
No, I agree. That's what the judge said, turn the planes around. And what most people don't know is that the president went against the court. And what most people aren't seeing is that then there's no one left. There's no court. Then he's in charge. Then he's the king. If you block the courts and the courts say no and you still do it, we're done. We've run out of balance and checks.
Well, I want to stay in the university realm, but I do want to lighten it up a little bit, just like the University of Maryland did. What's their nickname?
The Terps? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
The Terp. Yeah. What is
sorry.
What is a Terp, Tori?
It's a turtle.
Yes, that's right. Erica's like, all right. Well, Erica, you might know this, even though they have a turtle as a mascot, they had Kermit the Frog give the commencement speech. So
it's not easy being green.
He's coming up.
Kermit is coming up. He will be giving the commencement speech. So, Erica, let's say
that's awesome.
You are a student. Look at this from the eyes of a student and a parent. How would you feel about Kermit giving a speech? The commencement speech. Which is a spot normally for like heads of state.
Right. Well, when my
icon.
brother graduated Northwestern, Barack Obama spoke at his graduation.
So step down.
Don't say that. They're in the same level of iconography.
What?
I'm just saying Kermit is I'm not saying they're the same.
Wow.
I'm not saying they're the same.
Wow.
I'm certainly saying
Tori's like, I think Kermit's got some advantages.
No, but what you're saying in terms of fame, Kermit the Frog is like up there.
But in terms of like, do you want Kermit talking to you as you enter the world?
Kermit has the best advice ever.
What? It's a dude under there.
Yeah.
I know. I think
who's chosen to puppeteer a green frog.
I've learned a lot from Kermit the Frog. The Rainbow Connection. Learn how to imagine.
He didn't write that song.
Yes, he did. He sang it on the banjo with the lily pad.
You can sing a song without having written it.
I'm just saying Kermit is for peace. It's for friendships. It's for loyalty. The Muppets movies.
Yeah, you can learn that in the Girl Scouts.
I'm just saying I think Kermit's a cool.
How much is tuition at university?
That was my question.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
Stop playing with me.
That's a fair point.
That's why I said
bring out Barack.
As a student and a parent, after I didn't plunk down low six figures.
I went to University of Michigan. We had the head of some automotive sales magazine, and he probably gave a lot of money, but you bet your ass I would have rather had Miss Piggy or Kermit or someone with wise words that really would have been memorable. That's a great commencement speaker.
You think Miss Piggy has wise words?
No, I think Kermit does. You're right. Kermit's the Buddhist of the Muppets.
He doesn't say anything. What's his iconic phrase?
He sits on the lily pad and he says, if you, me, and the dreamers, and
that's a song.
Me,
a lot of people.
La, la, la. I'm just saying, he's a peaceful frog.
You, me, and the dreamers, and me.
It's good to see that it's stuck with you.
Tori's rendition of the Rainbow Connection.
He talks about
someday
peace
you'll find it. You, me, the dreamers, and the me.
What's that? 17 a year. At University of Maryland.
Come on, you wouldn't be happy to have
state.
in this day and age where you like it's all TikTok. You wouldn't be happy to have Kermit.
Absolutely not.
All right, I think
no,
that's-
I would like to have some guidance like honestly.
You will.
If somebody said something that was like, I went to this school.
Jim Henson wrote
I
the Muppets.
I didn't know where I was going.
Jim
and
Henson is not alive.
But he wrote the Muppets and the
You
Sesame
are
Street.
reaching.
I'm giving you the other side to say that he wrote them to give children guidance. That's the whole purpose.
Children, these are adults. They're going out into the world. I want somebody
the
who's
speech,
been
like,
there,
40
done that,
minutes?
and probably wrote a few books about it, giving the commencement speech.
Right. I will say this, Tori, you'll like this.
Kermit's old.
This is my defense of Kermit. When Elijah was born, and it's weird. Jeff and I have talked about it a lot. Once you have kids, like, you just cry out of nowhere. And I've never been a big crier. Didn't even cry at my dad's funeral. Not a badge of honor. I wish I had. I probably would have processed it better. But I was just watching YouTube. I'm holding Elijah, who's now taller than me, and the Rainbow Connection came on
telling
YouTube.
you, Al.
And Erica, I was just sitting there watching it and just fell apart. I don't know. So that song will always. I was just in the den crying with my son.
The Lovers.
So yes, it's I will say this, but after he sings that song, you still got 38 minutes, Kermit. You better have something on the back
Kermit
of that.
is better than a lot of commencement. At least mine. Mine stunk.
All right.
Mine stunk.
All right. Well, let's stay in the world of parenting, because this is near and dear to my heart for a couple of reasons. Obviously, it involves father-son. It involves LeBron James, Cavs, and it involves his son, Bronny James. A few weeks ago, LeBron confronted Stephen A. Smith at a game. I believe it was either halftime in between quarters. At some point, he confronted him because Stephen A. Smith, who is paid to give his opinion and is the most highly paid person to give his opinion and is the most famous person to give his opinion, said that LeBron, if he cared about his son's well-being, would stop the charade of having Bronny James on an NBA team, saying he's not good enough. Really? And he really banged that drum for a while. And it was to the point where Stephen A. Smith then responded. But since that conversation, Bronny James got into a Lakers game and had 17 points in 30 minutes. And then he went to the G League, which is a step down from the NBA, and he had 39 points. So he's starting to play much better. And LeBron took a shot, like, yeah, now what's up, buddy? So I want to ask you guys, whether you know about this issue or not, is it okay for a parent or a guardian to advocate for their child when their child is grown and a professional?
Absolutely.
Talk to me.
Yeah. Stephen A. Smith asked for that smoke, and he got that smoke. You know, I don't have an issue with LeBron saying something to Stephen A. Smith. I know that some people were offended by that. Why? I mean, we're all open. If we have made our livings giving our opinions, that opens us up to scrutiny of other people giving their opinions. There's no like cloak of protection. I mean, hopefully you're paid in a way that absorbs some of that scrutiny. But
Yes.
ultimately,
He's absorbing a lot.
yeah, but ultimately that's the gig. That's what you signed up for. And a parent is a parent until they're no longer on this earth and they continue to be a parent and a shepherd over their children. So I don't see any problem with a parent advocating for their adult child. There's a reason why children are allowed to be on their parents' insurance until they're 26 years old. Yes, they are legally an adult, but they're an adult coming of age. So I don't have a problem with this at all. I think that LeBron did exactly. If you're going to show up at the game and be in proximity to me after you said some hooty-hoo about my child, yeah, I am going to say something to you. And
Well,
yeah, you are going to listen.
Okay, well, Tori, let me reframe this for you so we can look at it another way, because I feel where Erica's coming from. But what if somebody says, everybody that Stephen A. Smith talks about is somebody's son or somebody's daughter? And I would be doing the fans and my job a disservice if I didn't say something. If I acted different on panel, if your dad was there and the show was weird and I didn't go at you like I normally did, you'd be like, what's wrong with you? Oh, your dad's here. So was LeBron, not should he be locked up, but do you think it was wrong for him to do that? Do you think his son is a multimillionaire with the contract he signed? He is famous.
Yeah.
He is a professional athlete. should LeBron feel comfortable going after commentators that make negative comments, because he wouldn't have gone after them if it was a positive comment?
Yeah. Look, I'm not a parent and I want to say this again, but I think if he felt that Stephen A. Smith, and I've heard that he was going unnecessarily hard.
He went in.
And it seems like he went in overly, right? And at this point, he's already said, like, I apologize for this. But I do want to say, I'm reading a book called Grit, and there's a part about parenting in it. And in it, it says this: there's a big part of parenting that letting your kids handle disappointment and someone going after them themselves and figuring it out is part of learning the grit. Now, what you've said is he's already been motivated by this guy. Could LeBron have been like, you handle this? You're a big man. You're in the sport. You take over. I'm not going to do that. Sure, that's a parenting choice. I don't say LeBron shouldn't have done it either way, but there's two choices to do it. But it seems like this was unnecessarily harsh. So I completely understand LeBron.
And I think what we're missing is that had it not been LeBron James' son, he wouldn't have been subject to that scrutiny. That's something, that's bad blood between him and LeBron to begin with. There's always been the conversation about Stephen A. Smith and LeBron and the Michael Jordan conversation. Clearly, Stephen A. Smith has more of an affinity for the Michael Jordan and that era of basketball, or him as a player, versus LeBron. He feels some type of way about LeBron, and he took it out on Bronny. That's the reason why he got the smoke. Of course, every person that he talks about has a mama, a daddy somewhere that's like, that's my child.
That's my baby.
And each one of those mamas and daddies, if they ran into Stephen A. Smith, could give him a piece of their mind too. But it just happened on that day, in that situation, it was LeBron. And LeBron took care of business because the business is really between the two of them. Bronny is very new. He is a new, like, that whole thing, it's not even a thing. But the fact that Stephen A. Smith made it such a thing tells me everything I need to know about the backstory between LeBron and Stephen A. Smith. That's the reason why LeBron checked his ass.
All right. Well, we are going to shut that chapter right there. But
I have more to say. No, kidding.
We're going to keep reading from the book of parenting, because our girl, Kourtney Kardashian, she made a statement saying that she's still strict as ever with her kids' diet, but they're starting to speak up. I believe her oldest daughter is 12.
Penelope.
P?
And I wanted to ask you guys, how was your upbringing in terms of what your parents allowed you to eat or not eat, and were your parents different, the same? Tori, I'm going to start with you.
All carbs all the time.
Really?
Everything was
Shut up.
Just
Are you
sweet,
serious?
Horrible. Malamars. Just horrible things.
Like, what
Donut
was in your
holes.
kitchen?
Just like we had a pantry where the kids would come down and just grab cookies and like those fudge, those like the elf fudge.
Yes.
You know what I'm
with
talking
the
about?
stripes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just like horrible snack welts and like, I mean, we were just a food eating, like my family ate a lot of food, like a lot of breads.
Yeah, that's very 80s.
Yeah, man.
My grandmother,
There
we used to be
was
over
no-
there eating white
I would have
bread.
loved your
Oh
house.
my God, my friends were just like, rah, 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 rah. I mean, it was just like cookies upon cookies upon cookies constantly. And then it all was like really bad for you.
Follow-up question, do you wish that they had more restrictions on you? Do you feel like that affected your eating habits as you transitioned into adulthood?
No, I'm so lucky I don't have an issue with eating, but my parents, no, not at all. I'm glad they were open and easy. There was no like weird feeling or vibes around eating. I do know it's affected other people in my family, but
yes.
I was like, whatever you do is fine, and I don't have any issues. I eat a burger, a beer, a lobster, and a cookie and be fine with it.
That's like a death row meal. All right, Erica, I gotta know what's going on at your house.
Oh my gosh.
What was it like at
My
the Cobb
father ran our meals like he was still in the military.
I find that shocking.
You do not at all.
Yeah, not at all.
You do not. Yeah,
Most of
it
it was
was
strict?
Yeah, very strict. We had no sweets in the house. If we had sweets, it was because he made a cake on a Sunday, and by Tuesday it had to be gone. So it had to be gone, not because we ate it, like it would be given away or taken somewhere else. I don't know where the cake went, but we would have one slice of cake after dinner on Sundays, and maybe if we were lucky, we'd have it on Monday. Fast food, the only time I got fast food was when my Auntie Pat would sneak me to a McDonald's or a Burger King, maybe a Wendy's, and we would get fast food after church, and then she would tell me, you better eat everything on your plate when you get home, because my parents could not know, specifically my dad could not know that I ate fast food. It was, I mean, we had the whole pyramid. Like it was my dad was super conscious about the way that we ate, to the point that when I got to college, I was so excited just to have like a few dollars in my pocket and be able to eat whatever I wanted. And so I indulged the first 2 weeks, and I could not use the bathroom. I got so constipated my first 2 weeks.
Because you were just eating everything.
And it was so bad that like I thought I was going to die. And I was calling.
Did you think the freshman 15 was days in between bathroom trips?
No, it was just the first 2 weeks, and I went to the grocery store and I got all of the stuff that I always wanted, like the mac and cheese in a box, because we weren't allowed
Kraft.
to have we weren't allowed to have Kraft mac and cheese. My parents were like, no, if you want macaroni and cheese, you make real macaroni and cheese.
Right.
So things like
6
that.
hours?
Yeah, seriously. And so
Front porch.
I was like, oh my gosh, all these things that I wanted for so long, and I just filled up. I had my little refrigerator, and I had like a little pantry on top of my refrigerator, and I was so excited. I was eating everything, and then all of a sudden I was like stuck, like physically and gastrally, and I could not move, and it went on for a little while, and I was calling my mom. I called Big Mama. She was still alive then, and Big Mama goes, oh no, honey, you know my sister died of lock bowel. That's what happens when you don't have enough, I guess, fiber or something in your diet. And so then I was like, oh my God, I am going to die. I'm going to die. So I called my mom and I was like, Big Mama said that I have lock bowel. Her sister died. She goes, no one has died of lock bowel.
Yes. Unless they were on a pirate ship.
Dysentery.
I will never forget.
Oh my God.
And so then I'm going back and forth. They're both telling me what to do. So I just did everything. And at this point, my roommate's like, okay, you just have to like walk it off. So I decide go to Water Tower Place, like downtown Chicago. So I went to school in Chicago, and Water Tower Place was like this fancy mall. And so we get there, it's on the Magnificent Mile, and I'm walking around. Granted, I have done everything. I've drank apple juice, lots of it. I have had like some type of something that my mother told me to have. I did all the things, and all of a sudden my ears start ringing.
Oh my God. It was all coming.
And I'm like, what's happening? And I look at my roommate, and she's like, oh shit. And I said, I think so. And I go running out of Water Tower, and I just shake the security person. I'm like, where's the bathroom? I'm on the
use the
fourth
mall bathroom?
floor. Yes. And he's like, oh, you have to go down by the food court. I am like 4 stories up. Okay.
Don't believe that.
There's no other.
Macy's got bathrooms.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
I spent, I wish I were kidding. I spent 2 hours in that bathroom. I told my roommate to just leave. I was like, I will die here.
When you came out, did they go, is it your first time shoplifting? What's going on?
I will die here.
I live here now.
So ever since then,
wow,
I have been very conscious about having a balanced diet. Wow. And now I understand that it wasn't punishment from my father. It was just
I'm just glad that you survived the lock bowel.
What about you? The lock bowel.
That is, you guys know Dr. Jackie Mack was progressive before that.
You were having like chia seeds and stuff.
My mom was, first of all, we used to go down to the food co-op. That wasn't the grocery store.
Yeah.
It was filled with hippies from the 80s that drove red Subarus there. You ground your own coffee beans. The whole place just smelled like
oats.
It smelled like a bunch of vegetables that still had the dirt on them. You know, like there's a smell when something has not been touched
it's
or
farmed.
Like curated like a grocery store has.
Yeah.
And it was cloth bags. So we were alfalfa sprouts, quinoa, back when people just thought that was like a black girl's name. Like we were eating it. Like That's why it's like so interesting. My mom was going to like health food stores back before it was like the thing to do, back when like they just really had carrot juice for like weird people that worked out in
That's why her
1983.
skin, like
Yeah, that's why
your
she
mom
looks so good.
glows.
Yes.
Oh my god.
And then my dad,
Good for
who
Jackie.
we've talked about, didn't eat anything.
He ate like 3
Did-
things.
My dad probably ate 6 things.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
His house was like Willy Wonka if they rebooted it with an all-black cast. It was candy everywhere.
Oh, that's why you like candy so much.
Probably.
You love
'cause
candy.
You have to understand, you're talking about my father, and never went to the grocery store. It was Sam's Club or I ain't going. So everything we bought
was bulk.
we are going into a bunker for a year and a half size Butterfingers that you could drop and break your foot with. It's like 148 bars.
This makes so much more sense about your like candy thing.
Right. And so it was like this weird thing. And my dad was like, oh, you know, kids, they got to do some fast food. My mom would never.
Really?
Over her dead body
Yeah.
would we ever go to a fat. It
Really?
would just not happen.
Wow.
And so like, especially like once they got divorced, it was a very bipolar situation for our stomachs.
Quinoa Burger King.
Yeah.
Quinoa Burger King.
Just in like, my dad would have random, there's just like, you would just like open a cabinet and there'd be like a box of 58 count Baby Ruths. It's like, what the, who is coming over?
There's no woman there.
Yes, and granted, I am not complaining, but yes, there was in liquor everywhere. My dad never drank. We would like just handles of Jim Beam. Handles.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know. My dad was
Somebody was drinking it.
well. My dad was.
Did he play cards or something?
He kind
a baby.
He was
really.
he was hosting. He was the poker house.
Yeah, but not enough. I mean, maybe early in my life, but then towards the end, my dad didn't even do that kind of stuff. It just, my dad was like old school. Like, you need to be ready if somebody comes over and they need a vat of Beefeater. I mean, I cannot describe handles. Oh my gosh, I do. We have to get to this other story, but I will say this.
That is
I-
so
we
funny.
don't have time
Yeah,
for
that's
another
it.
story.
So we got to.
We're
so-
done.
Wait, can we just talk about
my
like weird
cheeks
parent
hurt.
stuff real quick?
Please.
Continue on with your dad because I love hearing stories of your dad.
My dad's house was just, it was what his mind was.
Can I
which
ask
was-
you something? Was it, I picture it for some reason, always a little bit dark.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Like he didn't have a lot of light in there.
Never thought about that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Really? Just dimly lit.
dimly lit,
Okay.
not pitch black.
No, but dark.
Always just like in the kitchen, it would just be the oven light.
Right.
The TV room, there would be like a lamp and the light from the TV,
I
but
see.
it would never. The only thing that would be lit up. My dad had a pool table. My dad loved to play pool, and that was the only frill we had in our house. It was almost like when a guy that's never lived with a woman has his own place, so he just has like dude stuff. So he just got like fishing lures,
Like an
against the
aquarium.
wall, and you're
Yeah.
like, does a spy live here? Like, there's no, like, there were pictures of family, but you know, there were law books. Like, there was nothing. It was a house that was incredibly clean, because my dad was definitely OCD, incredibly clean, but definitely needed a woman's touch.
Yeah.
which
A
is-
little sterile.
Right. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Just like a lot of taupes and tans and
Yeah.
browns and grays.
Yeah.
So Tori, what was your house like?
Stunning. Beautiful. My mother
Really?
was stunning.
So
She's
beautiful.
I
just-
can't even imagine.
She had the eye. She just had the eye. Just like, and sometimes it wouldn't be even expensive stuff. She had like beams made and then painted to look like expensive wood. So she'd get cheap beams and then like, anyway. But I do want to tell a cool story. I didn't know this. My grandfather, who I never met, my dad's dad, they both died at 56. So I never met them. My mom never met them. But he was a billiards hustler.
Really?
And he went through law school hustling billiards.
Yeah, my dad hustled too.
Did he? He hustled? Wow.
It was a thing.
It's a thing.
I just think about the freedom, and I'm always a little bit jealous of it. You know,
You'd be a good hustler.
Everybody's got this tether, which is a phone. And my dad said when he got out of the Army, they give you whatever amount of money after you get out. He was a paratrooper, and he took his money. He bought like a sports car, and he drove around the country in the South, and hustled dudes in pool until he was like, I gotta go to law school.
That's what my grandpa
Yeah,
did.
and it was just like, can you imagine just rolling into a town?
Yeah. How did they do that?
I don't know. I'm sure it didn't always work out great.
Right.
Yeah.
A Jew and a black just being like, whoops, gotta
Yeah.
go.
No, 3 straight games. So lucky.
Like, how did that happen?
It's
Yeah.
just like, that freedom. I miss it, Erica.
Hustling skips a generation. So if your father hustled, then your children will be hustlers. My parents weren't hustlers.
Oh,
So you're the hustler.
All
Oh
right.
yeah. Oh yeah. When the when the taxes got slapped on cigarettes in Chicago, and they went from like $2.50 a pack to like $10 a pack. It was like I guess it was close to $10 at that time. But in the nightclubs, you were charging $10 for a pack. So then it became $20 to $30 a pack. So we would just mosey on over to Indiana and get the cartons and sell Lucy's
Ooh.
for $2 to $5 a ciggy.
What a hustler.
And do you know
What a
how bad you wanted to
Yeah.
smoke a cig after drinking in a nightclub in
Dude,
Chicago
nothing
so you could
better.
smoke?
But you could still smoke in the nightclub.
Oh my God.
That
And
is-
I was a bartender. So people always wanted cigarettes.
smart
I
idea.
went through so many I'd be like, damn, we got to go back to Indiana. Sometimes I'd make more money selling cigarettes than I did on tips.
This sounds like how you got into moving large amounts of drugs. And then I was like, I could fit 3 keys in a box of cigarettes.
Let's go back to Indiana.
I will say
The
this
Lucy's.
That's amazing.
as we wrap up. The reason I asked you about like the decor in your house
Mm.
is I remember my grandparents' house, and now I've been to all of your homes. Gorgeous. I love the aesthetic. I like the way my house looks, but my grandparents' house and the way it smelled, there used to be ashtrays and they were gold, and just like everything was like, there'd be magazines and like, you know, George Benson records out that had been played. They weren't there for show.
Right.
And just like the idea, my grandmother had, you walk in, you know that she'd steamed her curtains.
Yeah.
She'd taken half the afternoon and cleaned her silverware. I get the idea that we're moving forward, but there's just some things about the old school I really appreciate. Just the time that somebody would take when they would make you food and like
Put
the
it
idea.
on china.
Yes.
Like old school china.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what I'm planning on doing in my retirement.
I love it.
I'm bringing all that back.
You already got the jacket wearing it like the right way. Like you got your big mama
very
jacket on.
chic.
Yes.
It's very chic.
Yes. Well, we're just gonna have a bunch of fly ass grandmothers. Like,
No, for sure.
Absolutely.
Who listen to like great music.
yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's a thing where I don't think society is telling women, you're married with kids now, put on this frumpy house dress and go,
Yeah.
just get now. Like moms are like ripped.
Yeah.
They're like going to concerts with their daughters. Like everybody's kind of on the same wavelength. Thank you, internet. And thank you, Night Owls, for joining us on this wonderful edition. Erica, do you have any final words for the people?
Make sure you support our sponsor, Positive Energy Campaign, by going to their YouTube channel and subscribing. Please do so, because the more that you support them, the more they can support us.
Absolutely. Tori, what do you want to say to the people?
I have a joke.
Wait, can you pop your collar before you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on.
All
Okay.
right.
Okay, ready? Why do bees like ovens? I think I messed this up.
I have been sitting across from Tori for, I don't know, a fifth of my life. And my favorite thing, Night Owls, is when she starts and she gets one of those Olympic jumps out of the blocks where you're like, oh, this could be a world record. This could be 9.74. And you just see Tori's mind pull that hamstring. And there's nothing in that
My
bucket of
ACL.
words.
Not the mind hamstring. That
ACL
was
goes.
deep.
What
That was
is
deep.
what is that joke?
Okay.
We cannot
Why do the bees like Florida?
Why?
Because swarm. Swarm.
I'm mad that made me laugh a little bit. I really didn't want to.
I
that.
think I gotta
I
work
know
on
Michael
All
Dean.
right.
Kind of
Remember
I can't
that.
believe she pulled it off. I can't believe you guys rode with us again, Night Owls. But you guys always support and show love, and we are here for you guys. And we got more big things coming up, like a bigger studio. Shout out, Dude IDK, doing their thing,
Yes.
growing. My boy Nick, I'm proud of you, man. I really am. I'm dead serious.
We are,
Like,
we
look-
are proud.
Yes.
I hope you take a second and look what you built, dog. This is beautiful. I'm really proud of you. And I'm proud of the Night Owls, too, for riding with us. So shout out, Dude IDK. Shout out, Senior Executive Producer Michael Dean. For the ladies, I've been Al Jackson. Night Owls.
Hoot hoot.
See y'all.